And then we do come now to item 19, which is non-housing asset disposal, which Councillor Leppard, you're proposing now, second.
Okay. Many of the arguments and reasons stated regarding the garage disposal applies equally to this case. But I'd like to, before I start, thank the officers. This is a really interesting report, and in the past, disposal of non-housing assets has usually been done on a very ad hoc basis. This is a far more efficient way. They've undertaken painstaking work researching each of these assets, which the council has held in many cases for many years. They're not homogenous, unlike the garages, and different reasons and opportunities exist for each one. For example, the land that adjacent to the old Harlow Medical Centre, we're in negotiations with the medical centre for them to acquire that to expand the medical centre. So that will require that will bring in new investment. Same applies with the Heights garage site, where the college is interested in acquiring that and to build on it. So overall, the litmus test for me is if these assets were available today on the open market, would we as a council buy them and invest in them? And the answer is clearly no, in every case. So therefore, why do we hold them when they have no operational purpose, they require significant investment, and they do not fit within our strategy? This is a great opportunity for us to dispose of them at market rates and to use those funds for services that we want to provide, or to invest in new assets which do fall within our strategy. So therefore, I do recommend that we support this report. Thank you.
Super. Okay, and just to follow up on a couple of those questions, just to clarify, if we want to talk about the appendix, we need to move into private session. So if we just focus on what's in the public report, if at all possible. There's a couple of other things just to add on that. There are assets there, which is, again, the report sets out. We've gone through a process with these, identified where they serve no operational purpose. There is a huge liability for the council. There is no means to bring it back into use. Or, as Councillor Leppard says, to dispose of land at the Innovation Park to create more jobs, as we have created thousands there already, or plenty of other things aside. So, Councillor Edwards, if we kick off with you for questions. Unless it's in the appendix, in which case we... Okay. If we just hold fire and we can come back. Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. And I think it was the previous Cabinet meeting where we were talking about Old Harlow Health Centre in the context of Section 106 monies and investing, seeing investment into services provided in the local area. I see that within this, it's recommended that we dispose of land adjacent to Old Harlow Medical Centre. Can I ask whether that's an indication that progress is being made on that matter, and that Old Harlow residents wanting to see better access to their GP should be encouraged by that?
Without commenting too specifically on a commercial negotiation, I think Old Harlow residents should be very pleased with that, and I know that the ward councillors particularly will be pleased. Any further questions here? Councillor Griggs.
Bear with, I'm just trying to check whether it's actually in the appendix, the bit that I'm asked about, so don't. Sorry, I'll take your guidance on it, but it refers specifically to the list of assets that are listed for sale here.
Page 141.
Which asset?
So that would, page 141.
Yeah, which asset is it?
Well, several of them, to be fair.
Okay.
Page 141 is in the public report.
Yeah.
Which case, a number of those are, well, one of them I know for sure has tenants in it at present. I don't know about some of the others, but given that they are residential, one would assume from their names, what security is there for people that are currently tenanted in those properties when these sales go ahead?
Yeah, so just to clarify on a couple of those, and I won't go into the detail of each one, but there's a couple of things here. There are some of the deals that may or may not be proposed maybe to the sitting tenant for them to acquire the site. without going into what's in the confidential appendix, but it may be to dispose of the asset to the sitting tenant in some cases, if that answers your question enough. In terms of securities, there are no proposals at present to evict anyone or anything of the like to dispose of an asset.
What guarantees will we have from a subsequent purchaser of those? Is we're saying there are no plans. Obviously, they will not be in the possession. If so, you're saying that sitting tenants may be given the option to purchase. I can think of one example there where that's definitely not going to be the case and not viable for them. What security would we be seeking on behalf of those tenants from any potential purchaser?
So I'm more than happy to speak to you after. It might be easiest if you've got any concerns about any specific proposals here, but there's a couple of things I'd say. So there's none, as I say, there are no live deals negotiated that we are proposing to evict tenants to proceed with, so that's not currently the case. But in terms of safeguard for tenants, without commenting on any of those, it may be that we want to change the current use because the current use isn't suitable and we want to change it to something else, in which case dealing with that in the appropriate way would be the best thing to do. Or, as I say, it may be that the sitting tenant wishes to acquire that, which would obviously protect that. But it's very unlikely that any of these assets would be disposed of with a tenant in situ to a new owner with that tenant in situ.
In which case, are you saying that the council will facilitate finding new accommodation for those people prior to the sale?
Well, as I've said, there's no proposals to do that at present, but I'm happy to talk in more detail after the meeting if that's helpful. Any further questions? No? Any comments? Councillor Edwards, did you want to come back or do you want to deal with it after? I mean, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not convinced that your question is going to prevent Cabinet taking the decision, and therefore it may just be easier we deal with it after the meeting, rather than kick everyone out and then come back.
The problem is the information that I've got is within this bit which says not publication. That's
Yeah.
what I wanted, and that's what I wanted.
Well, what I'm going to propose then is we deal with that after the meeting, because you can't vote on the item anyway, and there's no point in asking the public to leave to you to ask the question. So if we move to comments, Councillor Charles, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I refer to the public report and the focus on Jenner House and what has been, over a number of years, active discussions about the future provision at the medical practice. First of all, I very much welcome the work that has been undertaken by officers and Councillor Leppard to move this forward. I know that there has been constant discussions with the practice manager. The key to all of this in Old Harlow in particular, because of the population growth, is the need for additional GP consultation rooms because of that population growth. And it is a pressing need that we get on and deliver that. I think what is contained in the private elements is a way of moving that forward. I very much welcome the discussions to date, and I look forward to this progressing into the future. Thank you, Chair.
Very good, thank you. Any further comments? No, in which case we move to the recommendation. Councillor Edwards, have you got a comment?
Yeah. In the sense of, in relation to the vacant plots at Harlow Innovation Park, in fact, there's no detail given in any of this report as to scale of those plots, etc. So you're asking, it seems to me you're asking members of Cabinet to make a decision when they've got little or nothing on which to make the decision.
Yeah, they do. There's only one vacant plot left at the Innovation Park, which is well detailed.
So in which case this is inaccurate then, because it says vacant plots as opposed to
well, it's
vacant
split.
plot.
It's split into, well, it was originally split into two plots. We're dealing with it as one plot. So if you just turn your microphone off.
No, sorry.
That's all right. There being no further comments, we'll move to the recommendations. Are they agreed? Agreed. Very good.